Welcome and thank you for joining us for this webinar on creating a course. Today we'll be talking about basics in creating a course. That includes the required fields. And then I'm not going to talk in any detail about activities or publishing groups. We do have other videos available on those that go into great depth on each function of within an activity and explaining our publishing groups and availability. Then I will talk about all the rest of the fields on the basic information tab, and we'll have another video that covers all the rest of the tabs that are in a course. Let's get going on creating a course, but first we have a user journey, and basically this is from beginning with creating labs all the way through delivering that training to your end users. And as you can see, we have the LOD side here of the platform, Lab on Demand, creating your lab to publishing your lab, and then the TMS side of the platforms, from creating a course to finding a delivery method to delivering that training to your users. So we're talking today about the first step in the TMS, which is to create a course. Course holds all the content that's used for training through instructor-led classes and self-paced training. Courses have many features available to them, from activities that can be added like labs and videos and assessments and surveys, to settings controlling how and when the course or features within the course display. So let's take a look at creating a basic course. The bare minimum to create a course is what we're looking at here. And if you're using the TMS for scheduling as a scheduling tool for all your classes, you could create courses like this for scheduling classes that don't have labs. The first thing that you must have is a name for the course. And we're going to skip down to only the things that are required. For the organization, this is the organization that owns and manages the course, who can come in and change it and create and edit it. So if you have multiple organizations, you may want to change that to a different organization. Your program is always going to be training. You can set the duration for how long you expect the course to take in terms of days or hours. And training days, you can set here. This is actually for the class when you use the course for a class, and when you get down to session times, it's automatically going to add in whatever you have here in training days. So if I have 5, it's going to set to 5 on the class by default. And you can change that on the class as well if you're going to have more or less sessions for that training. The content provider is a category, and right now it's a required category. Most organizations only have one content provider, and this is used right now in our billing, so it is a required field. We're going to skip down past all of these guys, and let's talk a little bit about available instructor-led and available self-paced. There's 3 things that control whether or not a course is available for scheduling, and these 2 control how it's available to be scheduled. So if you have available instructor-led checked, it will be available for classes to be chosen to schedule classes. If you have available self-paced checked, it'll be available when you're going to set up a course assignment. So you can have either or both checked. And if you actually uncheck both of them, they do a thing with the course that allows it to show as coming soon. So if you have a course catalog going on, you can uncheck both of them because the course is not published yet, and it will show as coming soon on a course catalog or in a subscription as well. Let's go ahead and save our course. And right now you can see that I have a find classes and I have a find, but I don't have a create class link. I don't have a create course assignment link either. And I've also got this red message here that this course must be added to a publishing group to be available for use. And publishing groups, if a publishing group isn't added, then it's not available to schedule as instructor-led or as self-paced. And this can be good because it gives you a way to work on your course without anybody else being able to see it and put it into any kind of training situation. Once it is scheduled for a course assignment or it is scheduled for training in a class with an enrollment added to it, because those become billable items, we have lockdown fields. So you want to be able to keep working on your course. You may not want to add a publishing group right away. So what do publishing groups do? Let's go in here and edit the course and go to not activities, availability. It's the other A word. And you can see right down here, I have a link to add publishing groups. So what do publishing groups do? They manage availability of courses to organizations. And if you're an organization that's creating and using your own courses and not selling courses to anyone else, then all you have to do is select the publishing group with your org name, which will probably be the only one available to you, and move on. So I come in here, I actually have more than one. I'm going to use it as internal and say okay, and it's added on there. Some organizations actually create courses and sell them to other organizations. This allows, having publishing groups allows them to set up publishing groups with content and assign the organization to the content that they want to have available to them. So it's a way for them to manage who has access to their own courses. Let's click on save now. Oh, I didn't change my basic information. I still don't have my create class or create course assignment because I need to add both of these. And now with the publishing group and with my training specified, I now have the create class and the create course assignment. Really quickly, I'm going to mention manage resources. After you have saved a course, you can go into manage resources. And this allows you to add resources that are out there, like documents, and you can upload any kind of file like documents, PowerPoints, zip, text, images, and different stuff. So they're all listed there, the things that you can. And once you choose it, you can choose who it is visible to, if it's visible to the students or or to the instructors. And this shows down on the course under the activities, and that allows you to put in different information or documents that you want just to upload directly on the course to have available for any self-paced or instructor-led training that you're going to be offering. Let's go back over our basic information and talk about the rest of the fields that I skipped over previously. You can add a short name, whatever it might be. It might be a code that aligns to your course or just a shorter name that you all use or an abbreviation. You can put in versions, and we have a way to actually clone a course so that you can set versioning. Description, this is a plain text field, and we also have a text field that's available for formatting, which is the HTML description. They both show right next to each other. Let me show you on the course profile. So this is the plain text field, and then this is the one with HTML formatting. If you actually know how to code and want to get creative, you can add all sorts of coding in on your and images and anything else that you want in here. And they have some basic formatting tools as well. For a class though, you can also see it. This is where the class's description field goes when it's that plain text field. And down here in the middle, we have the HTML field for the class. And I'm going to collapse the activities, but you can still see the course information on the class as well. So if both are used, you'll see them both. If one is used, you'll only see the one. That's a description. Search keywords, you can input keywords and then use them in Find Courses to find the courses you're looking for. Profile image for the URL. This allows you to add images to the course. All of these blue and green and orangish Images are images that were added to the course and then show in a catalog. They also show in a subscription, and you can store your image out wherever you want in a blob or somewhere, and then you'll copy the URL in here and add it to the course. We talked about those. Discussion. A discussion can be added to a course, and when it's added to a course, it is available to anyone who has taken the course as instructor-led training or as a self-paced training. And they can all add and look at the discussions and post to the discussions and talk in them. You can add moderators into discussions so that they can work on making sure the answers are correct and making sure there aren't any posts that are inappropriate. And I'm trying to remember which one I have it on. I think it's this one. So as a student, if I'm looking at a discussion, I'm on my enrollment for a class, I have this link for a discussion. If I'm in a self-paced training, there's a tab for discussion. So you control which topics are out there to be discussed, and then users can add posts and comment on posts and use those for discussions. And let's get back. So those are discussions. Content type here is actually a custom field. And you can have custom fields on several different items and add them for any kind of information you want to gather or to be able to search from. So if I want to add a custom field, I'm going to come to site administration, and I have course custom fields on my courses tile. I click on that. I can search for them, or I can create a custom field. We're going to look at creating one really quickly. Your name is going to be whatever you want to show for the field name on the course in this case. You can add a description. You can add a tooltip, so when they hover, they'll see it. And you can choose different. We actually have custom fields for not just courses. We have them for classes, for users, for subscription profiles. And we have several different kinds of fields that you can input. So we have a text box, which allows them to input any kind of text they like. Drop-down lists, which are like this one. Well, not really. They have a drop-down list, and you can actually put dependencies within drop-down lists. So if the selections are A, B, C, and the person selects C, you can have it then show D, E, F as selections, and you can keep making dependencies as far out as you want. You can have a single checkbox or a checkbox list like we do in the course. You can have a number field that only takes numbers, and you can have a user selector, so you can add the ability to just look up users and add them. I'm going to use a checkbox, and you also have control over where it displays. So our one in the course is showing in the basic information, and every time you use a custom field, it's going to show underneath all of the regular fields. And then once you are in there, you can sort. If you have multiple, you can add sort order so that each one of yours appear in the sequence that you want them to. So from here, I can add it to basic information or advanced for the course, or I have this other choice, and I can create my own tab for it. Custom fields. And so that'll create a whole new tab that'll have my custom field on it. The last piece is to allow it to cascade down to the class. So from a course, if you add a field, you can choose for it to also show on the class once the class is created from it. Availability sets which organizations will see and use this custom field, and user role restrictions allow you to choose which roles, if everybody sees it, if nothing is selected, or which roles can see the custom field, and also which roles could edit the custom field. When I click save, oops, I'm gonna have to refresh, aren't I? And I come back here. If I refresh, we're going to just copy that. refresh the page. Out here past advanced, I now have a custom fields tab. Oh, it didn't take away my creating a course. And if I hover, I see my text and I have a checkbox that I can use. So it's very easy to create a custom field. And whenever you do create a custom field, you actually also are creating a filter and a filter. It's going to be under custom field, a filter and an output option for them as well, so that you can pull information on that tab. On the output options, they appear at the very bottom underneath everything else. So those are available for you too. Custom fields. Archived and auto archive date are the third piece that can control availability for scheduling. We had the publishing groups, we have the available instructor-led and self-paced, and we also have archived. So archiving allows you to take the course out of circulation, and it does not affect anything that you already have scheduled. If you already have a class scheduled in the future and you're archiving it today, it is not going to change anything about the class you're offering. It does not affect any person with a course assignment and their access to the labs. It does not affect anybody with post-class access for labs. They all have the same access that they have always had. The only thing that it stops is it stops you from being able to create a class with it or create a course assignment with it. You can also choose to set up an auto archive date. And if I know when I'm going to be taking this course out of circulation, I can set that auto archive date so I don't have to come back and think about when I need to do that. The auto archive date does have restrictions attached to it. So once I have set an auto archive date, there are some limitations. So it won't let you schedule classes against it in the future beyond the date that you've set. Show on course catalog allows you to add a course directly to a course catalog, like the course catalog we've been looking at over here. If it is not checked, it will not show on the course catalog. Excuse me. Featured allows you to add a little tag onto or icon onto the course as it shows. And these are all future courses. So I'll come into the now courses. And you can see here I have a featured icon on these. And what it does is it brings all of these courses up to the top, and then everything is shown alphabetically afterwards. And on our featured, you can input a date for when that expires, and it goes back to just being normal. Enabling simple course feedback allows you to get information back on your courses from the users. The way that goes is on the courses tile, we have find course feedback. Whoops, I should show you a course first with course feedback in it. So the course feedback allows you to, shows at the very bottom and allows a user on their enrollment or within their course assignment to give a positive feedback or negative feedback with a sad face, add text in here about it, and then submit it. And then what a person sees when they go and look it up is, I'm going to change those so you can see more information. And you can see when the course feedback was given, you can see which course it was, you can see the title on their and their content of what they've said, whether it was positive or negative, who it was that did it, if it was done from a course assignment or from a class, and if it was connected to a specific activity. So there's a lot of information you can get back from course feedback. It's a helpful thing to have out. Enabling achievements to outside organization. This is only for organizations that are publishing courses that are available to outside organizations and that are using achievements for badging or any other kind of for badging or just for accomplishing achievements. Allow activity disablement within classes. This allows you to have an instructor give an instructor the ability to disable classes. When that's checked and I come in as an instructor or an ops manager, I have this little checkbox now above my activities that allows me to disable all activities. And I also have single activity enablement over here on the side. So I can choose to enable all of my activities or one at a time. I can come back here and it'll toggle back to being enabled. There we go. So instructors can then control whether or not their students have access to move ahead on an activity. They may be lecturing and not want someone to be working in a lab, so they can disable those activities, or they may have things like assessments that they don't want people to start right away, and they can disable those as well so that the students don't move past where they want them. If I'm a student, what that looks like to me is the activity still shows. I'm on a student enrollment here, and all of my activities are enabled right now. So let's disable the first one and go back to my student. And it takes about 30 seconds or so, sometimes, for the activity to refresh and either show as disabled or become enabled for the student. And it shows here for them as a grayed out activity. They can still see it, but it shows that it's been disabled by the instructor for them. So the student is well aware of when and if they have access to that activity. If you're using the allow activity disablement within classes, you may want to also use allow activities to be auto-enabled after a class ends. And this is here for a fail-safe for your instructors in case they forget to re-enable an activity. And if you hit this, then, or you check this, then after the class ends, it's going to go back and re-enable all the activities that are out there.
Before we end this course creation session, I just want to talk a little bit about editing courses and versioning them. So let's take a look at that.
So this one is a course that has already been scheduled, and the class started on Monday of this week. And you'll see now that I go to edit it, it says this course has been delivered by class or a course assignment, and some fields cannot be changed. If you need to update the content, we recommend using the Save As button to create a new version of the course for future deliveries. And you can see all of these fields are open to be changed. The only thing that is no longer open to be changed is adding or removing a lab. So if I come down here, I no longer have the ability, which should be right here, to add a lab. And if I had a lab scheduled in here, I would no longer have the ability to remove it. At this point, if I do want to make changes to my course, I do need to save as, and I can put in my new name for it and hit save. Then it's going to open up that course for me to edit, and I can come in now and add a lab, which wasn't there before, and make the changes and save it. So once you have delivered either through course assignment or a class has started, you will not be able to make changes to any of the labs because that is what we bill by. And you can use versioning here to keep updated on what version of the course you're on and all of that information.
Thank you for joining us for the webinar, and we hope to see you again at another one soon.